Colour in Your Life is proudly sponsored by Hobbycraft stores across the UK. For more information, go to hobbycraft.co.uk. G'day viewers, my name's Graeme Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do. Okay folks, how are you? Well, welcome to the mountains of Snowdonia in Wales. Fantastic to be here. Colour in Your Life, crossing the oceans and coming to the UK with the help of some fantastic people over here. But I specifically do have to thank Hobbycraft, the organisation that basically has art and craft shops right across the United Kingdom. They have stepped up to the plate through Ian Walton and Leon Bowen and have put together a series of fantastic artists for us to come over and start the series in the United Kingdom. We really appreciate what they've done and it's enabled us to be able to start the series in the UK. And as you can see, some fantastic places. We're visiting some amazing artists and it's because of this company that we've been able to do this. So Hobbycraft, thank you, A1, and we really appreciate it. I went into one of the stores of the 89 that are located across the UK and met up with the management of the Chester store. Hobbycraft have a huge variety of products, well over 25,000. And not only do they sell some of the best brands, they also conduct workshops and art competitions across all of their stores. The range of art supplies is extensive, from oils to acrylics, watercolours, pencils, easels, and a huge range of ready-made canvases as well. Whether you are a novice or a professional artist, Hobbycraft is there to advise and assist, not just the individual artist, but art groups of all kinds right across the UK. Their mission is to inspire and encourage the passion and pleasure that the creative mind can be. Drop in and say hi and catch up with the team at hobbycraft.co.uk. Well, hi viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, we are in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and it's fantastic to be here. I mean, what an amazing country. And we're actually down in Cornwall today in a gallery called the Stowe Gallery in St Ives. It's a beautiful little, I suppose it's a medieval town to describe it at the best. Little tiny streets, cobblestones everywhere, it's absolutely magnificent. The town is full of galleries too, by the way. And we're actually with the owner and the artist that we're going to be with today, Mr. Paul Stowe. Paul.
Welcome to St Ives.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for coming all this way.
Just a beautiful place. Now, Paul's got a really interesting past for the simple fact that he actually started out as an executive and as a quality control manager for many years, traveling the world, and it was really with a number of big companies like Ford and Jaguar and Lotus as well. Tell me a little bit about that and the way that you transitioned into this amazingly fantastic super realist, or you hate the word, it's called hyperrealism. That sort of drive you nuts, does it?
It is what it is, I guess. I mean, it's realism at the end of the day. You know, how hyper it is, or so, that's up to the viewer more than myself to say that. But no, I work for a lot of big multinational companies, which caused me to travel an awful lot and working those 7 days a week and everything else. I was sitting in a lounge in Schiphol, watching everyone pounding to their keyboards and shouting down their phones, and I thought, there's got to be more to life than this.
Absolutely.
And pencils are what I've loved, and I've loved them all my life, and I thought, well, why not? Give it a go, see what you can do with it.
And when I say Paul works with a pencil, he actually does these images that you're going to see today with an 8B pencil. They are quite extraordinary. So, but we're going to discuss more about your past and what you do, and we're going to see some of this great work. Paul has a studio at the back that we're going to go to now and reset up the cameras, and let's go for a ride on this because you're going to find this absolutely amazing, honestly. Now, we're going to start on the piece. Now, what you've got there is you've got one that you've reasonably started, and because the fact that you take such a long time to do these, I mean, there's many tens of hours that are put into these pieces, You're actually going to do it in 3 stages today, so you've prepared some stuff so that the people can actually see you go along with this. The equipment that you use, I mean, generally artists have just tons of stuff. You have 3. Can you tell me what they are?
Yeah, I'd really like to get back to basics with it. I mean, I just use 3 little implements. 1, a blender. 2, a small eraser that I try and use. And the third one, the most important one, is a pencil. I try to keep to 1 pencil. This is an 8B by Faber-Castell. I find their pencils are really soft, they blend really well, and they don't leave too much residue on the paper if you need to take residue off as well. So, and that's as simple as it gets really, just those 3 implements.
And what about the paper you've got there?
The paper is a Bristol board smooth. This is a non-branded paper, and it doesn't really matter. I tend to use an oversized paper, and you'll see why, just so I give a little bit of room around there as well. So what I tend to do is I will draw the image quite loosely, using sort of very quick pencil strokes, and then what I'll look to start doing is to start to tighten that pencil up by making some more precision strokes, and also look at where I need some darker shading, some lighter shading. So we have an outline here of a drawing. I'll start to look at tightening all those strokes up and bringing the drawing all back together to make it a very detailed drawing. Now,
as far as the images that you use, do you get them off the net or do you take photos yourself? How do you go about that?
There's a wide variety of sources for images. I'll use my own camera. I love photography, and it teaches us so much about composition as well if you take your own photos. Some of the photos are more complex, or the drawings I do are more complex. So I will use photo sharing services like Shutterstock, for example. Always important to either purchase the rights to the photo, which I've done with this one, or at least to get the permission from the photographer to use it. In my experience, every single photographer I spoke to has always given permission to make a drawing.
Tell me more about the time that you were sitting in an airport, and obviously being an executive, a quality control executive, flying around the world, working for a number of various companies. You just got to the stage one day where you just said, this isn't working for me anymore.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that kind of life. It was just that I'd been doing it for a long time. And you know, you tend to miss all the birthdays, your kids' presentations, the school plays and so on. And I'm sitting there looking at all these people sort of doing what I'd been doing for 20 years. And I thought, you know, there's more to life than this. There's got to be more to life. And I was waking up in the morning thinking about the next drawing, or the one that I was working on, and I thought, well, that's a calling. That must be something that I need to be doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm never happier than when I am in front of my easel, or my board in this case, drawing. It's just something that I'm passionate about now. I absolutely love doing.
So how do you find having a lovely wife? Literally, this girl's been in your life since you were kids as well. The love of your life, I mean, both of you being artists in the one family, how does that work?
Well, one of the key reasons for me actually drawing is my wife's a painter. Okay. And 2 painters in the house, so I don't think that's a good idea. So it was always a case of I'll do black and white, let her do the colour. Yeah. But no, it's great because we feed off each other. We bounce ideas off new compositions or new techniques or new ideas. And we're pretty critical to each other as well. So, you know, she'll tell me she doesn't like something that I'm doing and vice versa. And I think that helps the whole sort of development of you as an artist as well. Yeah. When you have someone that you trust and you can listen to their feedback and it's not biased by anything else. So it works really well.
That's fantastic. All right, Paul, because your work takes so long and you've been so gracious to do a couple of these for us, what we'll do now is we'll transit to the second piece, because there's some techniques in there that I know that you want to show, show folks. And you'll see the real meat of what Paul does within this next piece. It's getting to the stage where, you know, you can even see dimples, pimples and hairs on these faces. It's quite amazing. So we'll transit over to the next one. We'll be right back. Okay, well, we'll pop the second drawing up. And you were saying before that you like to give yourself these little rewards when you're doing such a complex piece. Explain a little reward to me.
Okay, so it'll take me a long time to shade this area, for example. There'll be, you know, I'll go over that 2 or 3 times and I'll explain the shading in a little bit. But that might take 2 or 3 hours just to get this one area here to how I like it, to make sure the tone's right. So after that 3 hours and your fingers are hurting, you want to sort of, it's a fairly dull area, that bit of the cheek, so I can see a nice water drop down here. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's a real focal point for the whole drawing. I want to get that one done, just to G me up again to do a nice big piece down here as well. That's going to take a few hours. So yeah, there's a lovely water drop here that's just dropping off her lips. So I'm just going to be looking at, well, okay, how can I get this one finished, and how can I turn myself back onto the drawing?
Yeah. So with the detail, I think it will probably become quite cathartic after a while, or even very zen. What do you think about when you disappear into one of these drawings?
I'm still thinking about what I'm doing, to be honest with you. I don't really have that automatic zone yet. Maybe that'll come in the years as they go by. But I'm still thinking about, you know, well, how does this piece interact with this piece? Do I need to keep that clean? Do I need to shade that piece? What next piece am I going to do? You know, have I got a sweaty hand that's going to make a nice palm print on the paper? These kind of things. So it's all about the drawing, I have to be honest with you.
But that's the reason that you actually use either the silk cloth or the piece of paper.
Yeah, I tend to do that. I want to make sure that the viewers can see what I'm drawing today, but I would always have something under my hand, just to make sure that you don't get any palm print on there or sweat on there or anything like this. It'd be surprising, as soon as you get something on the paper, the drawing can be ruined. It just comes through. So you have to be very careful about what you put on there.
And you really do consider yourself as a purist pencil artist. You don't use graphite powder or charcoal or black paper. I mean, it's white and the pencil.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange, really. I guess it's one of those things that, you know, to explain what you do, you know, if you start to use complex materials or complex products, it all becomes mixed media and falls into a whole new grouping. I'm pencil and paper, and that's it. You know, it's a little bit strange because I'm sure I could help myself by using different materials, but I don't know. It's something I've said that's the way I'm going to do it, and that's the way I've always done it.
Fair enough.
So what I'm doing now is I'm just using the edge of the blender. It's a clean blender. Just using that to just push the material around the paper, and what that does is gives it a lovely sort of translucent effect. And you can start to see already that this is forming into a little bit of a water drop. There's no right or wrong with water. I mean, you know, as long as you've got your sort of refractions right, so if anything's passing through it, that it sort of twists it a little bit. But there's no right or wrong, really. It's just really about getting some nice smooth edges on there and some nice graduation between the darks and the lights. It's the details that you draw that most people never notice.
Yeah.
But those details are what makes the drawing at the end of the time actually look realistic or not. And some people will try, or you could try and actually avoid all the hard work and not put those details in, because you think, well, people are never going to notice that pore, or they're never going to notice that small hair. But actually, it's the overall thing will suffer for it.
Yeah.
So by putting all those in there, you know, it'll make the final piece look much better.
Absolutely.
So all I'm using a technique here called a circular technique. So all I'm doing there is creating tiny little circles all around the drawing, all around this bottom line here. And what that does is it gives an unevenness. So rather than if I just sort of put strokes in with a pencil, you end up with a very flat surface. Whereas the circles, and what you'll see is I'll blend these in a moment, they create a very uneven, and the tones will be sort of very varied. So I'll just do a small section there, and then I'll use a blender. Sure. And what I'll do is I'll just blend all those circles in, not fully, but just blend them in there to take away their edges. And then I'll use my little eraser. It's a very small diameter eraser. And then just do the same thing, circular movements, just over the top. So what I'm doing here is I've put some material on, I'm taking some material off, I'll blend this again, and I might do this 4 or 5 times. And what that does is create a little bit of depth, because you don't want it completely flat, and it'll create that unevenness that the skin has. And I use that as a base. So now when you paint, you have a base. So this will be the base to the drawing, and I'll just build upon that. So if I need to go lighter, I'll use the eraser. If I need to go darker, I'll add a bit more graphite.
I mean, I really like the wet series of the girls with the water on their face.
Yeah, the series didn't start out as a series really of wet drawings. What I found is that I really wanted to push myself as hard as possible with what can be done with pencil. And I guess the one goal that we all try to do as pencil artists is water. How can you create something that looks soft and gentle and wet with a simple pencil? So it was more about the technical difficulty, I guess, and I think the artistic difficulty of drawing water. That plus portraits, because I love portraits. Those two mixed together just work perfectly for graphite drawing. Yeah, they're amazing. Okay, so one of the main tools that I said I use, I try and only use the three different implements, if you like, is the eraser. So I've just added a little bit of graphite onto that area. I'll blend that graphite in. So it's quite flat now, as you can see. I'll put a little bit of curve in there, so there's a bit of a darker edge there. When I started drawing, that'll be good enough. That'll be of how I wanted it. But if you just use the eraser, you can just sort of then start to really bring that to life by a bit of a low light underneath that bit there, a low light under there, and then you can just try and start creating some textures on there. I was an expat for a long time. I lived in China for just over 12 years, and you sort of you sort of have a couple of things that you can do while you're an expat, because the gardening's taken care of for you. You know, the decorating's taken care of for you. You know, my wife is a painter, as I've mentioned, and I didn't really want to go into painting, although she could give me some help. So I just thought, well, you know, pencil, paper, and I started drawing my daughter particularly, and it all started from there really. And you pick up tools and techniques from programs like this and from YouTube, and you just pick up little snippets. But the biggest tool that you can ever get is just to try it and just to have that practice yourself. Yeah, have a go. So all I'm doing here is just adding graphite and then taking it back off, adding a bit more graphite, lowlights, highlights, trying to create a different tone there, just to see if I can create a little bit of texture, but also a little bit of depth and 3D effect to the overall lips there. So there's a little bit of darkness here, which sort of, as it bends in, and then bringing the light out to the top as well. So again, you'll see I'll go over a lot of the work many times. Yeah. And it just helps provide a lot more depth. Maybe it's indecision by me as well, but until I'm really comfortable with the way that something's going to look, I want to just, you know, I can do this. I can just take it on, take it off, put more on, and just work with the piece until I'm really happy. And you've also done some really beautiful nudes as well, figure studies. That I mean, you can actually see the texture on the girls' skins. It's fantastic. I guess the traditional way of going through any sort of art education, which I didn't have, was the figure life, still life, and figure drawing is a key part of that. Yeah. I never did that, and you know, understanding the human anatomy must be, and it is a key part of any art form. So I decided to do a series of drawings where trying to show emotion without showing facial features. So you'll notice that all of the drawings, you can't see the face, there's no shadows, there's no backgrounds, there's not even any floor in there. And the idea is purely to try to understand what their expression is, what they're going through, just from the pose that they're in. But from my learning point of view, it was a great way of learning about skin textures, and shading, and using some of the things I'm trying to show you now into actually creating unevenness, because our skins are not smooth, they're not completely the same colour. There are, you know, little imperfections in there that make us all human. Well, you've made some fantastic progress there, Paul, but as we did say when we started, that you've got one that's almost completed, but there are some things that you would like to change in that, and once again, because it takes you a very long time to do these, we're going to transit over to that one, and then the folks can really see the amount of incredible time and effort that you put into these pieces. Okay, that'd be great. I'm really trying to sort of explain how I do things as well, and I'm more than happy to answer people's questions if they want to know how we've transitioned from one to the other, and to, you know, really share some learning and some techniques with them. If they're not getting enough from what we're doing, because I know it's difficult with the time that we have. People just need to contact me on www.stowe.gallery. Beautiful. All right, Paul, well, we've put the third one up of the series that you've done, and there's a few things that you need to do to finish off this, and what are they? Well, I guess you're never happy with the piece, and you could carry on forever, but you have to draw a line at some stage. And I'm fairly happy with what I've got to so far, and really just the final touches are a little bit maybe of to try to bring out those bubbles a little more. So just a few highlights. So first of all, I'm going to take an 8B pencil and just lose a bit of this light air just to soften it all and put it back into darkness, really. And a good technique for having a look at your work is take a photograph.
Yeah.
Take a photograph, print it out, whatever you can do on a piece of paper, and then just look at it in isolation as well. I'm just going to use the eraser again just to pick up some bright spots, just to make those little droplets of water just sparkle a little bit.
Yep. So, your own gallery and your studio in your own gallery, that was a big life-changing alteration for you as far as the corporate world's concerned. So, but how do you feel about it now as you've gone through that transition?
Well, it couldn't be far removed from what I was doing previously, to be honest with you. You know, my budget is a lot smaller, my overheads are a lot smaller, and I guess, you know, in terms of management, I look after myself. So it has been a massive transition. But you know, I wouldn't turn the clock back. It's been an absolutely incredible journey. When you find that piece in life where you really enjoy something, just go for it. You know, and I get the ability now to draw every single day. Living the dream, we call it.
Absolutely, living the dream.
All I'm missing is a Harley.
We'll get you a black Vespa. You mightn't do as much damage if that's the case.
So from my point of view, and I'm you know, happy to do some changes if you think they're necessary, but I'm pretty much done here. I think yeah, I could spend another 20 hours on it, but you know, I've got to know when to quit, and I think that's about as good as it gets. So.
I think it's amazing work. I think everybody that's out there watching has been witness to a man that really has an incredible talent when it comes to a pencil and a rubber. So that will give you an idea what can be achieved if you really put your patience and your mind into it. But that was fantastic.
Thank you, Graeme. Much appreciated.
Well, a great day in the UK, in St Ives in Cornwall. That was pretty cool, pal. Paul?
Thank you, Graeme.
Thank you for leading us into your beautiful studio and the gallery as well. The gallery is a fantastic gallery. Now, if anybody wants to come and see you, if they're down in the Cornwall area, what's your website again?
Well, the website is www.stowe.gallery. So no .com, no .uk, just .gallery. And we're based in St Ives. Most people in the UK or visiting the UK will find St Ives. Most beautiful place in the world, outside of Australia, of course.
It's very pretty, it really is. It's beautiful. And the old cobblestones, they've got the second oldest pub in the UK here. It's 700 years old down the road, and then really is a magnificent area. So if you want to put a great artist on your bucket list and a beautiful area, I would suggest you come here. We've just started the UK side of things. We're very excited about it, and we think it's going to expand incredibly well across this country with all of the amazing people that are dealing with us. You can come and see us always at our Facebook page and in YouTube. We're expanding in there as well, and also at colorinyourlife.com.au. But we're going to continue our journey around this beautiful country and go and see some more people. But until we see you guys again, remember, as always, in the UK, remember, make sure you put some colour in your life. See you guys. Bye now.